Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Wedge 52 Gridiron Podcast. I'm your host, Wedge. Today, I'll be starting off a mini-series that I'll be doing, and I will be dropping a new episode every single day of July. This series is going to be called the 10-Minute Report, where I study a team for 20 minutes, plus my already established knowledge, and then create a 10-minute podcast. Please make sure you follow on Spotify and Instagram, and check back daily to see the new team's report. Jumping into this one today, to start us off, the 10-minute report on the San Francisco 49ers. Now, the number one question for the 49ers is pretty obvious. I'm sure everyone has seen the quarterback situation and, all of the question marks and all of the what-ifs and all of the different scenarios surrounding the 49ers and their quarterback situation. They have three potential quarterback suitors to start off behind center for them this season. The first being Brock Purdy, last year's Mr. Irrelevant, went 7-1 as a starter after being the last pick in the NFL draft. He obviously looked very good in a quarterback beneficiary system. A lot of people have had success, and we really haven't seen an elite quarterback there. We saw Jimmy Garoppolo, who has gone elsewhere now. He had a lot of success there for them. While he is a sufficient quarterback, I would not say Jimmy Garoppolo is elite, and I would like to believe that many of you guys would agree with that take. So back to Brock Purdy. In his 8 games, those of course included 3 playoff games, I believe, and he put up about 1,900 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. So pretty good. 4-1 touchdown to interception ratio as a rookie quarterback being thrown in there after some injuries. I would say that's pretty good. 4-1 if he could keep that up throughout a full season. You're looking at, 32, 33 touchdowns and, 8 interceptions. That's a pretty good stat line, especially for a young guy in a pretty solid offensive system. We did, however, see Brock Purdy in the NFC Championship game have a UCL injury. I believe he had surgery. There's the team doctors, the coaching staff, as well as Brock Purdy, have not really put out a deadline or a timetable in terms of injury return. They say that they are taking it, one day at a time, 1 week at a time, and just kind of, going from there. They do, however, it does feel like there's optimism, and it does feel like that, there's somewhat kind of loose expectations that Brock Purdy will be healthy for week 1. The next quarterback on the 49ers depth chart, or I guess we don't know the depth chart. I'll give you my prediction in a minute here. The next is Trey Lance, who will be entering his 3rd year on the 49ers contract. Trey Lance obviously was the number 3 overall pick for the 49ers a couple years ago. He'll be entering his 3rd season. And in 4 games that he's played, he has just about 800 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. 800 yards in 4 games, that's about 200 a game. I would say that's about average, to maybe a little below average in terms of yards. But they've had kind of, a little more balance and, this and that. And Trey Lance was kind of thrown in there. So they might have had different schemes, different play calls. 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. In his little time on the field, Trey Lance, quite frankly, has not put up, exceptional numbers. Hasn't really, at least to me, I haven't seen a wow factor. I don't remember a Trey Lance highlight. There's not a play in my head. You say Trey Lance's name, a play doesn't come to my head that he has, and that's the case for a lot of players. a lot of good players, above average, great, elite players. You know, you say their name, you can think of a game, a stat line, a play. Trey Lance, you know, it's just not there. I know it's only been 4 games, but as number 3 overall pick entering year 3, you would certainly hope that that would not be the case. Yeah, I mean, coming off an ankle injury this time, previous year, he injured his knee. So he has been healthy. He's been full go 100% since middle of March, I believe. So Trey Lance is another quarterback on their roster, and the third quarterback on the 49ers roster is Sam Darnold, who, you know, he's in his fifth year in his league. He's played for the Jets. He's played for the Panthers. In those 5 years, he's put up 11,767 yards, 61 touchdowns, and 55 interceptions. These numbers are obviously not great. You do not want to be hovering around the 1-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. Those are not numbers that are going to win you ball games or even put you in chances to, you know, be able to compete in ball games. You can't turn the ball over every time you score. It's not a good ratio. But the 49ers brought him in on a 1-year, $4.5 million deal. This was kind of a little shocking to me during the offseason, just because they had Brock Purdy, obviously. He got injured. He should be back before the season, if not early in the season, August, September. And they have Trey Lance on the roster, who's a number 3 overall pick. I mean, I know he hasn't done a whole lot, but then they brought in a guy who's like a solid vet. It just seems like, while not, you know, outrageous, it's definitely a tad bit of a stretch, in my opinion, to bring in a veteran quarterback. Potentially is going to be 3rd on your depth chart in this scenario. It is what it is. I predict Brock Purdy will start, and I think Trey Lance is going to still get the number 2 spot, but Sam Darnold will probably be 2B. I think it's going to be neck and neck if either one of them ever even gets in the game. Hopefully Brock Purdy stays healthy for him. I'm sure the 49ers want that. The rest of their offense, they definitely have weapons. They have a good offensive system. They obviously have Debo, Christian McCaffrey, who can do everything. He's used a lot. His frequency, his amount of touches is crazy. Hopefully Kyle Shanahan is at least just aware of, you know, the situation, CMC's injury history from overuse and the amount of touches and as a result, amount of contact he takes. It would be beneficial for the 49ers to keep him healthy. They have Brandon Ayuk, who put up 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns last season and has been improving slowly throughout the past 3 seasons. And George Kittle, who is a top 3 top 3 tight end in the NFL. For defense, last year they were ranked number 1, maybe number 2 in the league. I believe number 1 in most categories. I would not be surprised if the 49ers are yet again a top 3 defense in the NFL in this upcoming 2023 season. They lost 5 key members to free agency, I believe. But at the same time, they added Javon Hargrave, interior defensive lineman, who, as an interior defensive lineman last year, had 60 tackles and 11 sacks, which is incredible numbers. That's out of a D lineman. That's what you're asking for. That's well above what you're asking for, you know. And then they also drafted Jair Brown, a safety, who's the only player in college football to put up 10-plus interceptions over the past 2 seasons in the NCAA. And then, of course, they obviously have the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Nick Bosa. Dude has been elite for the past couple years. Expect him to have another dominant season, really be the keystone of that defense, along with Mr. Fred Warner. 49ers have potentially the best linebacker duo in the league with Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw. So don't be. 49ers will be a top 3 defense if everyone stays healthy. Obviously, with all my predictions, it really comes down to health. Or not, it doesn't come down to health, but, they're tangent on, players being in good health. So, for the 49ers, we're coming up on our 10-minute mark right now. My record prediction for the 49ers in the 2023 NFL season, my record prediction is they go 12-5 and take the division for this second straight year. That's it for the 10-minute report on the 49ers. I'm your host, Wedge. You just listened to the Wedge 52 Gridiron podcast. Please follow on Spotify, rate it on Spotify, and go follow on Instagram. Make sure you guys check back for future episodes of the 10-minute report. Thank you. Go Ravens.